have no problem with remakes veering from the original. I just have a problem when it's bad. Hello, willing viewer. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Katie Heron after her lobotomy, otherwise known as August Jasper. But my friends call me Goose. I'm suddenly realizing how bright these lights are. Let me put these sunglasses back on. If you like and subscribe right now, for every new subscriber I get, I will put a box of my flaming hot turds on Tina Fey's doorstep. You obviously don't know this, dear viewer, but I actually wrote the first half of this script months and months ago. I started it just before the newest Mean Girls movie, did some edits after it was released, and filmed what would have been the entire first half of this video that you're watching right now. I had a whole first editing draft and everything, you know, except for all of like the fun elements and overlays and movie footage. But then, you know, as life does, many months, chronic pain flare-ups, depressive episodes, and existential crises later, when I was finally able to scrape together enough spoons to sit down and write notes for the newest Mean Girls movie, imagine my shock when the very server for this film that I sailed the 7 seas to reach, so to speak, met its end. Or so I thought. You see, dear viewer, I don't know what revived the servers that hosted this movie and all the other movies on the site, but you bet your ass, you bet your bottom dollar, the dollar in your booty crack, that I pulled up my script and I got to work. That is, of course, after scrapping everything I've already filmed and edited, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I'm just gonna move on, and so are you. Strap yourselves in, dear viewer. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
I dropped out in the 4th grade to run drugs to support my nana.
That means you haven't known the triumphs and defeats, the epic highs and lows of high school football.
The 2024 adaptation of Mean Girls, which is essentially not only a reboot of the 2004 movie of the same name, but also a movie adaptation of the musical adaptation of the same movie, which premiered in 2017, also of the same name, has caused quite a stir amongst the population that have watched it, but not in the way that you might be thinking. When it comes to reboots, re-adaptations, revivals, whichever suffix re-title you seek to give it, the ever-scrutinizing general public tends to pick apart differences between the new material and its source material. It's a tale as old as time, which is a quote from Beauty and the Beast, which has gotten some kind of re-adaptation multiple times over. Modern adaptations of classic characters and their stories have become synonymous with the phrase, "you can't please everyone," simply because it's the truth, especially for anything that anyone has chosen to slap a modern take label on, for better or for worse. I don't need Greta Gerwig's Barbie to teach me about feminism. Barbie, as the Princess and the Pauper, did that well enough. The problems that lie within this year's the problems that lie within this year's adaptation of Mean Girls, however, albeit subjective, come not from senseless and reckless scrutiny due to the projection of any blind resentment harbored for past reboots of other pop culture classics in Western media, but instead from an understandable, slightly more niche concern about the sonic lack of bravado in the movie and its soundtrack compared to its musical predecessor, as well as, more specifically, the vocal performance of Angourie Rice, who played Katie Heron. Now, don't get me wrong, this video is not the place, and hopefully no place on the internet is the place for anyone to put their Angourie Rice hate. I enjoyed her acting in this adaptation. Basically most things before and after Revenge Party. But when you take away the film itself and put its soundtrack side by side with the original material from the musical, the differences are very glaring.
And I'm stupid with love. I wanna get in, but how? No! I can't even watch when she touches his hair. And I watched a snake eat a cow. No! I can't even watch when she touches his hair. And I watched a snake eat a cow.
However, I found that, at least from what I've seen, that seems to be where criticisms of the movie musical itself peter out, you know, in reference to the stage production. But in order to figure out just where this new adaptation fell short, we must go back to 2004.
Being new at North Shore was kind of hard at first, but I've met a lot of cool people.
I'm kind of psychic.
Really?
It's like I have ESPN or something.
I've made a lot of really good friends.
You're like really pretty.
Thank you.
So you agree? You think you're really pretty?
And I'm well adjusted. Hey!
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
How's your first date?
Fine.
Mean Girls, rated PG-13, now playing only in theaters.
The 2004 film Mean Girls stars Lindsay Lohan as Katie Heron, a homeschooled jungle freak who's the less hot version of Regina George, who's the leader of the Plastics and is played by Rachel McAdams, Lacey Chabert and Amanda Seyfried as Gretchen Wieners and Karen Smith respectively, Regina's minions and fellow Plastics, Lizzie Kaplan as Janice Ian, Daniel Franzese as Damian Lee, Jonathan Bennett as Aaron Samuels, Rajiv Surendra as Kevin Napor, and those are the characters that most people care about. The screenplay of Mean Girls is based off of a book released in 2002 titled Queen Bees and Wannabes by Rosalind Wiseman, which I think is crazy to me just thinking about the butterfly effect of that. Like, this is kind of like the it's like the MCR butterfly effect, but for Broadway musicals and Renee Rapp. I just changed my mic levels, so if I sound any more or less crazy, please let me know. Thank you. The movie follows Katie Heron as she narrates her struggles with transitioning from being homeschooled in Kenya with her research zoologist parents to moving back to the US, especially when it comes to getting acclimated to the epic highs and lows of high school football. Also, Katie is autistic. Moving on. Nevertheless, she is welcomed, albeit with pity, but still welcomed, by Janice Ian and Damian Lee, and guided by them so that she may begin to understand the epic highs and lows of high school cliques. In being taught about these cliques, Katie soon learns about the Plastics, the top clique in school, and she begins to form a crush on Aaron Samuels, the on-again, off-again boyfriend of the queen bee, Regina George. Y'all didn't see what I just had to go through. It was a whole thing. Few minute debacle about storage on my computer. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna be right back. At a Halloween party, Regina finds out about this crush and offers to talk to Aaron for Katie. But when the two kiss, Katie commits to Janice and Damian's plan for Katie to crush the Plastics and tear them down from the inside out. Janice mostly does this because she has her own vendetta against Regina after Regina accused Janice of being a lesbian, in the same way that the sky can be accused of being blue, or that grass can be accused of being green and sometimes brown. I mean, look at this girl. There's no way, absolutely no way, right, that Janice Ian could possibly be a lesbian. Katie learns about the rules of the plastics, which mostly consists of rules about clothes that they can wear on a specific day, including pink on Wednesdays and sweatpants on Fridays. This will come into play later. She also learns about the burn book, which the plastics have written rumors in about students and faculty at their school, including rumors about Janice's sexuality and also about the football coach / health teacher being a PDF file, you know, just normal American high school things, you know. Part of the group's plans to sabotage Regina include giving her foot cream instead of face wash and cutting silly holes in her clothes. But when those things backfire, they then make it seem like Regina only sent candy cane telegrams to Katie and Karen and not Gretchen, which sends Gretchen into the beginning of a deep spiral. Oh, there she goes. Oh, she's got. Oh, there. Yeah, she's gone. She's gone. After things go horribly wrong for the plastics during the winter talent show, Gretchen finally snaps and spills all of Regina's secrets to Katie, which includes the fact that Regina has been cheating on Aaron. When Aaron finds this out, he breaks up with Regina. Now, this is a bit of a spoiler, and I guess I could get into this for like later adaptations, but a big difference between, there are a couple differences between Regina cheating on Aaron in between adaptations. So in the first Mean Girls movie, it's like this whole kind of like cat and mouse chase where Damien and Janice and Katie are all trying to like bait him into running in on Regina and Shane Omen, the guy she's cheating on him with. And then in the musical, it changes, and I probably do talk about this later, it changes to Regina and Shane Omen hooking up in the mascot costume, like inside the school mascot costume. And that's like a big thing. And then in the newest adaptation, it's like very quick, very cut and dry, happens right at the end of Revenge Party. It's like so simple. Mwah. Love it. Oh my god, love it. I always kind of hated the cat and mouse of the first one, but a big detail of the cat and mouse of the first one is I don't think it really ends by Aaron walking in on Regina. But I know one of the endings, which is that Aaron walks in on the football coach with a student. So needless to say, I'm pretty glad that they took that out of future adaptations. Anyway, moving forward. After all of this, Katie tricks Regina into eating Caltine bars by telling her they help you lose weight, when really it's the opposite. Because what's scarier to an upper class white teenage girl in 2004 other than being fat? When Regina's weight gain leads to her only being able to fit sweatpants, she ends up breaking the plastics dress code by wearing sweatpants on a Thursday and is banished from the group, with Katie taking her place as Queen Bee and head of the plastics. But then, oops, Katie messes it all up for herself by hosting a party while her parents are out of town and drunkenly blabbing to Aaron about how she only pretended to be mad to make him help her. And then he sees right through the act and says that she's just like Regina. Oops. So, after this whole thing happens, after this whole debacle goes down, right? Janice and Damien show up and confront Katie about lying to them and remaking herself in Regina's image. Meanwhile, Regina finds out about Katie's trick with the Caltine bars, so to get back at her, she puts herself into the burn book and distributes it throughout the school to stir up chaos, so that suspicion is then placed on Katie, Gretchen, and Karen because they're the only girls in their grade that aren't in the burn book. In the midst of all the chaos, right? All the school's junior grade girls are sent to the gym by Principal Duval and the math teacher, Miss Norbury, to apologize to one another and use some kind of trust fall with the rest of the group. When Janice steps up, Regina makes a quip about it being Janice's dream to dive into a big pile of girls. And Janice decides to spill the beans on the plan that she made with Katie and Damien to ruin Regina's life and social status as she's cheered on by the rest of the students. After this, Regina storms out, with Katie profusely apologizing as she follows behind. As Regina lashes out at Katie, you know, the whole homeschool jungle freak who's a less hot version of her speech. Regina is suddenly struck by a school bus and she dies. Roll credits. Wow, can't believe that was the end of Mean Girls 2004. That's so crazy. Nah, I'm kidding. She just fractured her spine. Don't even worry about her. When the comments that Katie wrote in the burn book about Miss Norbury being a drug dealer lead to Miss Norbury actually being investigated about those claims, you know, due to the claims about the football coach being true, as we spoke about earlier, Katie takes full blame for the contents of the burn book. This leads to her briefly losing the trust of her parents and being shunned by her peers at school, and the cherry on top comes with another form of punishment: joining the mathletes at the state finals in order to get extra credit. I feel like I'm like sinking into my bed right now with all the stuffed animals. Hold on. This is a part where we watch Katie and hear her narrate an epiphany she has about the way that women, especially girls their age, treat each other. And that's about as deep below the surface as that resolution gets, because, you know, it's 2004. Other than maybe the next scene after the mathletes win, they show up at the spring fling dance and Katie is voted queen, mostly due to the people who think that she pushed Regina in front of that school bus. But nevertheless, she snaps the plastic crown into a bunch of pieces and shares it amongst the other nominees, Gretchen, Janice, and Regina, as well as other girls in the crowd, and also Damien. After all this, all becomes well between Katie, Janice, and Damien, as well as between Katie and Aaron, and between Katie and the plastics. At the start of the new year, Aaron has graduated and gone off to college, but still maintains a relationship with Katie, and the plastics are no more. Regina's joined the lacrosse team to channel her anger, Karen started doing the morning weather announcements, and Gretchen's joined the cool Asians clique. Also, Janice is bisexual. I'm currently writing this point in the script, and I'm just filming to get my reaction about this. Tell me why. Okay, most of the information, all of the information that I am including about the original Mean Girls movie in this video, I am getting from the Mean Girls Wikipedia page. And when they're talking about, you know, like the plastics disbanding, tell me why. It says, even Janice manages to make a change. First of all, I'm just gonna say that in this one, Janice is bisexual, but we're gonna move on. Luckily, and we'll get to this when we talk about the new movie, but we do get a lesbian Janice. But I'm just like, even Janice is straight now. I'm gonna fucking vomit. At the end, we also see a new trio of junior plastics, and they get hit by a bus. Roll credits. I'm just kidding. Now roll credits. All right, class. I hope you took notes, because that was the basis, the foundation for what lies ahead for both you and I, dear viewer. Buckle the fuck up. Again.
Wait, come here, I want to tell you something. First of all, I really like your hair color. Second of all,
we want to invite you to see Mean Girls. It's a musical. People talk and sing and move their bodies all at the same time.
they know what a musical is, Karen. They're not idiots.
How can you talk and sing at the same time?
Mean Girls, directed by Casey Nicholaw, with music by Jeff Richmond, lyrics by Nell Benjamin, and a book by Tina Fey. Coming to Broadway this spring.
I'm talking and I'm singing at the same time. Like that.
People are always like, Regina, you're so cool and beautiful and popular. I wish there was more of you to go around. Be careful what you wish for.
Now, for this next part, I don't really need to defer to my research all that much. For anyone wondering about my credentials on musicals, although I've been a fan of musicals since I could really even digest music, I was deep in the trenches of the slime tutorial era. Oh! Now, for those of you who don't know, and for legal reasons, this is a joke. If you search up the title of most modern musicals, you know, modern being of like the last decade and a half or so, you know, with there being outliers, obviously, of musicals from previous decades, followed by slime tutorial, then you will actually find slime tutorials, because that's what they are. This began, I would say, probably sometime in late 2015, sometime in 2016, to get around copyright issues. I also think it mostly started because there were a couple Hamilton bootleg bays going around at the time, and also an bootleg bay of a production of Heathers the Musical, starring a certain skrelting somebody that we'll talk about later on in this part. So there was a stern eye on slime tutorial culture for a while. From what it seems like at the time that I'm recording this, things are a bit lax about that, which is how I found the main bootlegs bays of the Mean Girls musical that we'll be going over today. The Mean Girls musical was in production by 2013 and premiered on Halloween in 2017. It ran for a little over a month at the National Theater in Washington, D.C. until early December, and then the show began previews at the August Wilson Theater on Broadway in March the following year and opened officially in April of 2018. The original cast includes the following: Erica Henningsen as Katie Heron, a homeschooled jungle freak who's a less hot version of Regina George, who's the leader of the Plastics and is played by Taylor Louderman, Ashley Park and Kate Rockwell as Gretchen Wieners and Karen Smith respectively, Regina's minions and fellow Plastics, Barrett Wilbert Weed as Janice Ian, Gray Henson as Damian Lee, Kyle Selig as Aaron Samuels, Cheech Manohar as Kevin Napor, and those are the characters that most people care about. Some notable cast replacements in the Broadway production and future castings and other productions of this musical include, in no particular order, pre-espresso-fied Sabrina Carpenter as Katie Heron, a homeschooled jungle freak who's a less hot version of Regina George, and as Regina George in different parts of 2019, Mariah Rose Faith Casillas of Starkid, and my wife, Renee Rapp. Please, Renee. Please reject me so that I can move on. Man, I know y'all see this. I know y'all see me like just sinking into my bed. As for the plot of the musical, it is very much true to the plot of its film predecessor, with the song mirroring the happenings of the movie, but I will also point out things that are different between the musical and the film, and later I'll go over the differences between the musical and its own film adaptation. For example, instead of Katie being the one to narrate the beginning of the musical and certain moments throughout, Janice and Damien are instead established as the narrators as they break the fourth wall and set the scene with the song A Cautionary Tale. Just like in the film, we then get a glimpse into Katie's life in Kenya with the song It Roars, but instead of like in the movie where Katie's family moves back to the US because her mother is offered a tenured position at Northwestern University, instead in 2019 stage production, the move happens because Katie's parents have lost their funding as research zoologists. When I saw a stage production for it this year, however, it had been changed back to the original movie's reason for their move. So it honestly, it depends who you know. You know, it depends who you know. It depends what you know. It depends.
Don't worry about it, forget about it.
Soon after the song It Roars, we get its reprise as Katie struggles with acclimating to the, say it with me, the epic highs and lows of high school football. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The rest of the track list, as I said before, is very reminiscent of its film parent and goes as follows. Do try to keep up. In Where Do You Belong, Janice and Damien take Katie under their wings and show her around the different cliques at their high school. This song, we're gonna go over this later, but this song is not in the 2024 film, which irks me. Y'all just don't want to see Jaquel Spivey be great. Like, I don't know what that's about, but y'all need to sort that out. You need to sort that out. I have to like rearrange myself so I stay sitting up. In Meet the Plastics, just like the title says, Regina, Gretchen, and Karen are introduced in order. After this, we get a reprise of Where Do You Belong, which is also not in the movie, because the first version that it reprised is also not in the movie, so why would the reprise be in the movie? But I'm just gonna say that I think it should be in the movie. In Stupid with Love. Stupid with Love. No, not that version yet. Please, I will get there. We'll get there, okay? This one is the good one. This song is when Katie meets Aaron in calculus class and begins to develop a crush on him. In Apex Predator, despite the plan for Katie to join the Plastics to later share the stupid things they say with Janice and Damien, Katie begins to fall for Regina's trap and is warned by Janice about Regina's social status. In What's Wrong With Me, Gretchen expresses to Katie and the audience her insecurities and her anxious attachment with Regina. After that, we get a reprise of Stupid with Love, where Aaron expresses to an already yearning Katie that he's swearing off of dating after having broken up with Regina the previous year. But Katie figures out that acting dumb in math class just means that she can talk to Aaron more. Who knew? In Sexy, it is evident that Karen Smith runs on 3 things: having Halloween every single day, having world peace. Well, I guess world peace should be first. Having world peace, having Halloween every single day, and also vibes. In the song Someone Gets Hurt at Aaron's Halloween party, Regina finds out about Katie's crush on Aaron and kisses him in front of Katie. Also, Renee. Please, I'm begging. Please reject me so that I can move on. I need a break. Revenge party comes when Katie fully commits to Janice and Damien's plan to completely ruin Regina's life. In Fearless, Gretchen, Karen, and the rest of the school celebrate Katie's ability to stand up to Regina, as well as their own newfound freedom out from under Regina's thumb. After Fearless, we get a short reprise of Someone Gets Hurt, which is smushed together with Fearless on the original Broadway cast recording. At the start of Act 2, there's a reprise of A Cautionary Tale, which is not part of the cast recording. After that, the next song we get is Stop, which is a song where Damien and the rest of the student body tries to discourage Katie to no avail from getting obsessive about Aaron and the plan to take Regina down, but mostly about Aaron. The first half of the reprise of What's Wrong With Me comes when Gretchen clings to Katie and offers her help and company in the same way she did to Regina, only to be brushed off. And the second half happens after Regina's mom is also brushed off by Regina, after she spills the beans that Gretchen and Karen are at a party at Katie's house, and that the Caltine bars that Regina has been eating this whole time actually are meant to make you gain weight, not lose it. Because, say it with me, folks, what's scarier to an upper class white teenage girl in 2004 other than being fat? Thank you for saying that. I thought I was gonna have to say it, but you said it for me, so thank you. The song Whose House Is This takes place at, spoiler alert, Katie's house party, when more and more people arrive and cause a ruckus, followed by More is Better, which is the scene when Katie and Aaron are in her room and she compares her life now to when she lived in Kenya and spills the beans that she's actually been acting like she's bad at math, only for Aaron to say that she's a clone of Regina and storm out. The second reprise of Someone Gets Hurt? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Actually, cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. I'm so dead ass. Immediately after this reprise, though, like back to back, we get World Burn. Miss Renee Rapp was eating from the second that she rolled that little copy machine onto that stage. And you know what she said? She said, and you can quote this, ooh, whoa, 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 I want to watch the world burn. I got the gasoline. I want to watch the world burn, and everyone turn mean. And print it exactly like that, too. Okay, don't fucking mince her words. She said it exactly how she wanted to say it, okay? She took all these bitches down with her without even breaking a nail. Now, the song I'd Rather Be Me is when the junior girls are sent to the gym to work things out and apologize to each other, and Janice spills the beans about the plan to sabotage Regina as a big fuck you to both Regina and Katie.
She's really good.
Jesus Christ, oh my fucking god, why the fuck are you so loud? Editing Goose, and it's months later and my hair is much longer and my voice is kind of deeper and I have a lot more facial hair. Just ignore all of that. Since I finished filming this video, there have been videos that have come out that have shown Barrett Wilbert Weed's vocal growth. That being said, it is important to take care of your voice, even if I do poke at her past scrolting. So yeah, just thought I'd come on here and say that for those of y'all who I know are going to be in the comments being like, but actually she sounds a lot better nowadays. I know, I hear everything. So get off my wiener. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the video. The reprise of Fearless happens after Regina gets hit by that school bus and Katie is shunned by her peers because of however they think she was involved in it. And then after this, she's suspended for 3 weeks and banned from Spring Fling. The song Do This Thing is the scene where Katie joins the mathletes at the state finals, helps them win, and shows up with them to the Spring Fling dance. Between that song and the last one of this show, one character detail that I'm obsessed with that got added to the musical is Regina being high on pain meds. It was actually pulled from a deleted scene from the original movie, which I'm assuming didn't originally make it in because that character detail didn't really come across.
Listen, I'm sorry about the bus. I feel like it's all my fault.
Stop trying to make this about you. I'm the one that got hit by the bus.
And then with the song I See Stars, it is the final song in the musical and bookends the show with a parallel to one of the final scenes of the original movie where Katie wins the title of Spring Fling Queen and instead relinquishes it in favor of uplifting her fellow classmates. As far as other changes to major story beats and some minor ones between the musical and its film predecessor, we get these following changes in no particular order. A lot of the racial stereotyping and slurs of many forms, as well as, you know, CSEM, which I am obviously not going to show here from the first movie, don't show up in the musical. Some people call it dated. I and others just call it what it is. Racist. and also fucking weird.
Tina Fey, check your front porch.
In the musical, they actually give Damien a personality, as opposed to the movie, where they just make him say stereotypical gay man one-liners. It's like Tina Fey walked into that writer's room and was like, what gay men say? What do gay men talk like? How speak gay men? When it comes to things that are written in the burn book, a particular change that's made is what they've written for Janice. In the movie, they've written dyke because in 2004 and for a long time before and after, if people weren't fetishizing lesbians, they were calling us slurs. But in earlier versions of the musical, at least up until the last few years or so, they've written space dyke, which is justified in the musical by the backstory from when Regina cornered Janice when they were in middle school to try and out her, and Janice exclaimed that she's actually a space alien with 4 butts, and then space dyke is what was written on her locker after that. But some stage productions of the musical adaptation have changed it to space les instead. In the musical, Regina is told about Katie's crush on Aaron by Gretchen at a Halloween party, but in the movie, Regina still finds it out from Gretchen, but instead corners Katie on a phone call that is actually a secret 3-way phone call with Gretchen. In the movie, it is confirmed that the health teacher is a PDF file. In the musical, that detail is omitted from the story altogether, and he's just some dumb guy, and I wouldn't have him any other way. Also, I don't want to talk about Kevin G's Winter Talent Show performance. I physically cannot. It somehow got worse in the musical, but how things go wrong in the plastics performance at the Winter Talent Show is changed from a formation adjustment with a skipping CD in a tiny stereo that accidentally gets kicked into a guy's head to a wardrobe malfunction that goes locally viral. I'm just gonna say one thing. The fact that Gretchen's "we should totally just stab Caesar" monologue is not in the musical, beyond me. You should be fired. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, between the movie and the musical, the location of where Regina cheats on Aaron is changed from the projection room above the auditorium to inside the school's mascot costume. Like literally in it, like inside the costume. They're both in the costume. The iconic 3-way, 4-way call that is amongst the most quoted, most referenced scenes from this entire movie is also not included in the musical, as well as other frequently referenced lines and scenes from the movie. When Katie is trying to get out of going on a trip with her parents, the reason for their trip is changed from going to see Ladysmith Black Mambazo, a South African male choral group, to Neil deGrasse Tyson. That change doesn't make any sense. I don't know how Regina finds out about Katie's party in the movie. Like, I think she just like drives by and notices it. I don't know how she finds it out. But in the musical, she finds out through her mom, who found out through an Instagram burner account. And then she also finds out from her mom that the actual purpose of the Caltine bars is, you know, to make you gain weight. Because again, when in the movie, she found out from Shane Oman after they left Katie's party. In the burn book, Regina writes fugly cow in the musical instead of fugly slut like she does in the movie. In the musical, instead of Damien and Janice showing up to Katie's house in Damien's car, they show up on Damien's grandma's scooter. I imagine this is because it'd be a little hard to drive a 2004 Ford Focus around on stage. Fast forward a bit until after the burn book turns the whole school upside down, and instead of Katie being grounded by her parents and disallowed from going to the Spring Fling dance like she is in the movie, in the musical, she's banned from Spring Fling by the principal as punishment for her involvement with the burn book. Either way, Katie goes to the state championships with the mathletes. Okay, after all of that after over 10 entire pages of script, after many minutes of synopsis and analysis, it is finally time. At the beginning, we travel to 2004 for the first Mean Girls movie. Then we fast forwarded to the late 2010s and the start of the 20s for its musical adaptation. Now we must tackle the beast that you clicked on this video for, dear viewer. The beast that took weeks, nay, months of a combined effort of writing, filming, and editing in order to take down, and I'm still not even sure if I'm going to make it out alive from this. But you know what? There's no going back now. Dear viewer, we march on. Get yourself a third seatbelt.
Hey you, let's go.
Wait, where are we going?
We're going to the movies.
Yeah, baby. Hi, friends. Hey. Did you get that third seatbelt? Okay, good. Just making sure you're strapped in. Okay. Also, I would just like to let all of you dear viewers know that today, the day that I'm filming this, by the way, it's September 9th when I'm filming this, just so y'all know what's been going on. I did my very first tea shot today. Thank you. 1 day on tea, more like actually 2.5 hours on tea. Yeah. Leave all your love in the comments below. Leave all your hate comments in the comments below. Just do it all. I wanna see who's out there. All right, back to the ride. Please keep all hands and feet in the vehicle at all times. Oh my god, literally, how could I forget? Alright, let's get back into it. The 2024 adaptation of Mean Girls, which is essentially not only a reboot of the 2004 movie of the same name, but also a movie adaptation of the musical adaptation of the same name, has caused quite a stir amongst the population that have watched it, but not in the way that you might be thinking. Or maybe you are, because I've told you all of this already. The cast for this adaptation includes the following: Angourie Rice as Katie Heron, a homeschooled jungle freak who's the less hot version of Regina George, who's the leader of the Plastics and is played by Renee Rapp. BB Wood and Avantika Vandanapu as Gretchen Wieners and Karen Shetty, respectively, Regina's minions and fellow Plastics. Auli'i Carvalho as Janice Imi Ike, Jaquel Spivey as Damian Lee, Christopher Briney as Aaron Samuels, Mahi Alam as Kevin Napor, and yeah, say it with me, those are the characters that most people care about. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for pitching in. Thank you, really. I really appreciate it. For all intents and purposes, this new adaptation is definitely one of the movie musical adaptations I have ever seen in my life. Compared to the original movie, sure, it walks like a Mean Girls movie, talks like a Mean Girls movie, and yet somehow it still feels like a sort of step sibling to the musical predecessor and an even more distant relative to the original 2004 film. Now you're probably wondering, Goose, where was this prop earlier when you were literally talking about the original movie? Yeah, so I would have had this prop earlier, but I literally just got it. I found it at a thrift store in between filming the first part and this part, so just fucking bear with me, okay? Even though the plot in the 2024 film is laid out the same way that it was in the musical, there are still a good chunk of differences between that iteration and this one. So I'll be tackling this the way any real commentary YouTuber would. And how is that, you may ask? By dissecting it and ranking it on a tier list. Duh. I'm mostly doing it this way because it's fun, but also because even though the original musical is based on the original movie, which is based on a book, but you know, we're talking about visual media here, not literature, I feel as though the original movie and the musical are able to stand alone, like in their in their own, like as their own entities, mostly due to the fact that they were developed roughly like 10 years apart, which you would think the new movie would have, you know, gotten the same kind of grace. But I digress. You want to know the #1 song on the very day that the very first Mean Girls movie came out? Yeah, by Lil Jon and Ludacris. You want to know the #1 song the day the Mean Girls musical premiered on Halloween in 2017? Rockstar by Post Malone featuring 21 Savage. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Follow along, dear viewer. For this tier list, I will be ranking scenes, songs, and some other secret third things from the 2024 adaptation, just so everyone is aware of where I stand about all things Mean Girls 2024. For the songs, based on the ones we actually get in this adaptation, I'm focused on two things. One, do I feel like this song is important to keep in this adaptation? Most of the time, yes. And most importantly, two, is that shit good? A lot of the time, yeah. But nevertheless, do try to keep up. Before we begin, let me introduce you to today's tiers. So, we're gonna start top to bottom. First, at the very top tier, we have See You Next Tuesday. You could probably tell by each of the first letters what that spells out. This tier is reserved for the moments, the songs, the other secret third things that just absolutely serve See You Next Tuesday. Need I say more? Right below that, so this is our A tier. Tier. This is our A tier, which is titled A Consonant and a Vowel Short of Next Tuesday. So instead of serving cunt, it's serving nt. So like you're halfway there. You know? Right below that, we have our B tier, which is titled You Did Eat That One Little Thing Right There, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like you know, you did eat that one little thing right there. Right below that, we have our C tier, which is just titled Okay. Then right below that, there's the D tier, which is titled Okay. Like, it's not the worst thing to happen, but it's by far not the best. And then the very, very last one we have is titled Pack It Up, Skittle Squad. That is our F tier. That is just, it's reserved for Tina Fey. Like, that's really it. It's reserved for Tina Fey and like maybe a couple other things. So let us begin. First up, we have Damien and Janice doing A Cautionary Tale, as we spoke about earlier. Jaquel Spivey and auli'i Carvalho are both incredible, and I will be riding this high until Renee Rapp shows up. This opening is so refreshing. It's like taking a bite out of a nice, crispy, juicy apple. Or like a nice ice cold lemonade on a hot summer day. Or like getting hit by a bus. So this one is going right into our S tier. Who could have seen it coming? Next up, we have Katie, played by Angourie Rice, with the song What Ifs. This song was specifically written to replace It Roars from the original musical. Okay, like, okay, jokes aside, if you've seen any like Mean Girls slime tutorial, then you probably understand why they couldn't go full 2019 Lion King, you know, especially not with a budget that's like 14% of 2019 Lion King. But even with all of that, you know, I kind of like this song. Sue me. Honestly, this is probably my favorite vocal performance of Angourie Rice's in this movie. And like, even though I feel bad for saying that at the very beginning of the movie, I would feel even less bad if I didn't already know what's to come, you know? So this one I'm gonna put in the B tier. Like, you did eat that one little thing. Like Like, you'll definitely understand later that, like, when it's a song that has no other comparison, when it is a song that it just exists on its own, and Gary Rice sounds okay. She sounds good. Okay, but trust me, whenever she is singing a song that has a predecessor, oof. But you know, hey, listen, as an exposition song, it does its job. It gets us through the start of the movie, and that's what matters. So it's going in the B tier. I also do love that it's paced very similarly to the musical when you get to see how Katie goes about her day, like, you know, as she acclimates to high school and how she acclimates to the epic highs and lows of high school cliques. Yeah, we talked about that. Like, of course it has to be paced a bit differently because, like, regardless of the lineage of this particular intellectual property, it's still a movie adaptation of a musical. So I'm gonna put that next to What Ifs in the B tier. It's like, yeah, okay, you know, like, yeah, you did eat that one little thing right there. Another thing I enjoy is the fact that they kept the health teacher as just some big dumb guy that doesn't know how to spell. So, okay. Oh boy, for this next one, I have in my notes, by the way, full transparency, because I'm a real person with autism, I'm reading off my notes off my phone. Am I off two edibles as I write this? Yes. Do I still adore Jaquel Spivey and auli'i Carvalho? Yes. Do I anticipate the entire S tier being just them two? Yes. I love seeing two bad bitches be friends. I also love seeing Damien get to be a person in the musical adaptation and for that to be heightened in the movie. Anyways, now this is where I get mad. I will never get to see a movie where Jaquel and auli'i do Where Do You Belong? And I will never get to live in a world where we get the entire movie version of Meet the Plastics. Everyone, please respect my privacy at this time. Now, with all of that being said, what we did get for Meet the Plastics, I'm gonna need about 3 to 7 business days to recover. Also, I do love a lyric change that gets rid of harmful body standards. I'm a big fan of that. Renee Rapp's vocal growth in this movie is like super evident. Like, by this point when they were making the movie, it had been like, I don't know, probably around 5 years since she had last played Regina on stage, and it's like a whole different thing, not only to be reprising a role that you did in a stage production, but also to essentially readapt that character for a movie. That is going right in the S tier, baby. I forgot about there not being a Where Do You Belong reprise. Okay, we can talk about Stupid with Love now. We can talk about it. Stupid with Love. It makes me so mad that they essentially had to TikTokify this song in order to have a cadence and a range that Gary Rice could keep up with. But regardless of her vocal performance, this production, no good vocals could have saved this production. It has become a shell of the original version. It lacks the bombacity, the musicality of it all. And to lack musicality in a song that is in a musical fucking blows my mind. When it comes to movie adaptations of musicals, some things should not need to be sacrificed for the sake of being TikTokified. Not even TikTok liked this version of the song. If this were like What Ifs, and this song just existed on its own, then maybe it could work. Maybe. But the thing is, it doesn't. And Gowry's vocals in this song aren't even really that bad, but comparatively, this lobotomized rendition doesn't hold its own weight against the original with the frantic orchestration and the musicality of it, as well as with Erica Henningsen's stunning vocals. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't say all of that and not put it in the F tier. I'm sorry. Well, okay, I can put it in okay, because listen, the song may be bad, but it's not as bad as Tina Fey, and like that's where I'm gonna sit with that. And next we have Janice and Damien with Apex Predator. Like, literally, I swear. Hold on, I just realized I put Renee Rapp in the Meet the Plastics tier because it was at the very top. I meant to put it here, but hey, same thing. Anyways, back to Apex Predator. I promise I'm not being biased just because it's auli'i and Jaquel, but like, I like this arrangement. It's just that I think you'll find what I found, which is that the revamping, the rearranging of certain songs for the setting of this movie, like for the confines of this movie, it can be good. It has the ability to be good. There is some good production on these songs. It's just that it helps when you have people on top of it who can actually sing. I feel so bad for saying that, but it's like, it's the truth. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they both ate that up. They ate that the fuck up. And then next, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm giggling and kicking my feet a little bit. Yeah, she's going in. Yeah. And then Busy Phillips as Regina's mom. Honestly, big sleigh. Astronomical sleigh. Gargantuan bombastic sleigh. Yeah, it's going right in the sea next Tuesday too. Yeah, sure is, yeah. Ooh, and the edits they did to the burn book. Honestly, we love edits that no longer include slurs. Love that. Now you're probably wondering, Goose, they call Janice a pyrolez. Like, well, see, the thing is, dear viewer, at least les is still a shortened version of lesbian. It's just a shorthand for lesbian. Honestly, I would much rather be called like a les or a lesy than have someone who isn't a dyke call me a dyke. You know, like, as long as it's not with hate and it is from a fellow lesbian or it is from a fellow sapphic, I actually don't give a shit. I give a shit when it's coming from someone who shouldn't be saying it. Okay, thank you. Next we have Gretchen with What's Wrong With Me. Honestly, I love a music box style flip of a song. I love it. I'm a big fan of this. Big fan of BB. And you know what? Not gonna lie. Yeah. Also for this next one, going on the list, I put this here because the scene where Katie is like, it's across like multiple days of her talking with Janice and Damien about plans to like, just to like get in with Aaron and figure out how to try to slowly but surely win him over. And there's a point, this screenshot is just after Aaron compliments her on her shirt and she goes, "Thanks, it smells like sausage from the last time I wore it." What? I love that girl. And honestly, the only thing keeping me from putting it in See You Next Tuesday just for funsies is the fact that she's like not straight up written as being autistic. Cause like, yeah, whatever, you can make the case that like, yeah, blah blah blah, you know, she's not autistic, she just, you know, lived in a different country, but she's she's not autistic. She's just, you know, not used to living in Western countries, blah, blah, blah. She's lived in Africa her whole life. Where you live doesn't make you less autistic, you know? Like, yeah, there obviously societal norms and societal rules are going to change based on wherever you might be, wherever your setting is. But I'm just like, you want me to see Katie Heron miss so many social cues and realize that she's missing so many social cues and not label her as autistic? Okay. And then we have Avantika with Sexy. Avantika's portrayal of Karen is so good, so good. So beautiful. The heightening of the direction for Karen in the musical is double for this movie, and Avantika unlocked an even more perfect airhead quality that exists within this Karen character. She simply runs on 3 things: having world peace be first, having Halloween every single day, and also vibes. And also the lyric change, going from I intend to run the world in shoes I cannot walk in to watch me as I run the world in shoes I cannot walk in. That's not even a question. That's really not. Next, we have Someone Gets Hurt. I literally don't even want to do this. I don't want to do this. I fear this is one of the only songs so far that sonically and choreographically matches the energy of the version from the musical. It really is even more so thanks to Renee Rapp's performance, as always, and less thanks to whoever decided that weird stiff shaking move was a good idea. This song absolutely does a good job of showing just how conniving Regina is and the lengths she's willing to go for control. I also fear that I did gasp all over again the first time I saw the end of that scene. So yeah, honestly, y'all can't pretend that you didn't know where this is gonna go. I don't know when my camera stopped recording, but I'm just gonna keep fucking going. I'm gonna keep going like it's nobody's fucking business, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, keeping the ball rolling so I don't have a meltdown. So after this scene is when, you know, Katie commits to Janice and Damien's plan to ruin Regina's life, right? So this is when Damien tells Katie the truth about how Regina essentially outed Janice. And honestly, I really appreciate the tone shift for this particular story. In past versions of this particular tale, Janice's sexuality was either played for laughs until she inevitably ended up dating a boy at the end, or it was portrayed as ambiguous and not in the Harry Styles queer bait kind of way. I'm joking. That was a joke. Real people can't queer bait unless they're Harry Styles. But yeah, I really appreciated it essentially being taken seriously. The fact that Janice was the one who was vilified when Regina was the one all along to have done that, to have been the villain, to have turned her classmates against her and made her feel unsafe, literally just due to the fact that she likes girls. I love that Mean Girls 2024 actually kind of takes lesbians seriously. So, big fan. That is going, and see you next Tuesday. And then we have Revenge Party. Now, I'm sure y'all know at this point. I'm just sure you know what I'm gonna talk about. God, I really wanted to like this one at first. I really did. It's so perfectly set up to be liked, maybe even loved, especially with Jaquel trying to run past me like he can sing like that and get away with it.
I'll be the DJ spinning the tunes on a turntable made of a bone. Why are you running?
Why are you running?
They even put in a previously cut verse. They even put in a previously cut verse.
I'll bring the glow sticks.
I'll bring balloons and we'll have chocolate ice cream cones.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'll be the DJ spinning the tunes on a turntable made of her bones.
Imagine we're sisters, cause sisters have fun. Playing dress up in Barbies and tag.
Sweetheart, when was the last party you were at?
And then we'll roll on the grass and stare up at the sun. And then we'll stuff our remains in a bag.
And throw it in the river.
Party. I really miss that verse.
But even though there are certain elements that are understandably absent from the movie version, like the layers of ensemble vocals and the "what's Regina doing? What's Regina wearing?" part, I'm sure it probably has something to do with whatever that term is about how you sing depending on what setting you're in. It's called like something ambiance. I'm just gonna say sonic ambiance, although I know that's not what that's called. Like, honestly, it's gonna kind of piss me off if I like end up having to publish this video without knowing what the term is. Leave it in the comments below if you know what it is, and I'll probably like just pin your comment. But like, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with remakes veering from the original. I just have a problem when it's bad.
No, I can't even watch when she touches his hair. And I watched a snake eat a cow.
On the bright side, I do enjoy that they changed what Janice did to Regina's shirt to a prank with the sprinklers during the homecoming court. It modernizes it in a way that has been done throughout the movie so far, which includes TikTok and filters and, you know, even more so than the stage production. With all of that being said, I do want to stress again that I don't want to feed into any hate towards Angourie Rice. With that being said, her parts of Revenge Party are just not that good.
Regina needs to be toppled. Sorry, Gretchen, I swear we'll get our party now.
I don't expect her to have the stunning vocals of Erica Henningsen. I don't. But I at least would want the direction for her acting and her singing to be similar. I can't speak to what happened during the recording sessions, but what kind of fucked up game of telephone had to happen where the director, the engineer, everyone in charge of this movie didn't let her do another take and didn't try harder to make it sound good? So this one's going in the A tier. A consonant and a vowel short of Next Tuesday. And you know what? Yeah. Next up we have Damien singing the iCarly theme song in French. Yeah, that's automatically going in there for sure. 1,000,000%. Yeah, I have no notes. Yeah, I love that man. And then next up in the Winter Talent Show was Kevin G in The Power of Three. And I'm so glad that they went back to what was originally done in the original Mean Girls movie. Because like, I don't know, somehow the musical made it worse. And you know, I can't really put my finger on it. I really can't put my finger on it. So I'm just gonna put it right here next to okay. Also, there's a point just before the plastics are about to do their routine where Regina pokes the fact that Karen has slept with 11 people. And like at first I put this in here as like a wow, you know, I think this is kind of a point where they both realize that like Regina actually kind of hates them. But thinking on it now, I also realize that this was mentioned earlier as something that Karen told Gretchen in confidence, and I just kind of feel bad for Gretchen now. I feel bad for both of them, but I feel more bad for Karen in this moment. Like that's my girl. That's my girl. Gosh, I really don't know where to put this. It's definitely not bad. I'm gonna say a consonant and a vowel short of Next Tuesday. Because it's like, I feel like it's somewhere in between. I feel like it's somewhere in between the two. So I'm just going to round down and say A tier. Because yeah, I like that little acting bit. And then after this, there's a whole disaster with the plastics at the winter talent show, you know. And then there's like, you know, a montage of the whole situation going viral on presumably TikTok, but also across the internet, which like, I don't know. Like, really, Megan Thee Stallion is the only thing keeping this segment from being in the F tier. Like, that and the fact that when she's, you know, geeking out about Katie, she originally said,
okay, so somebody sent me this look and I was like, hot girls, we are going back red. Y2K fire crotch is back.
But that last part about Y2K fire crotch has been cut since then. Interesting. That's crazy. And honestly, just because of Megan Thee Stallion, I don't want to put it in the okay tier. So I'm just gonna put it in the okay tier because, like, okay. And then after this, the music that plays as Regina walked to the lunch table. Oh! I'm not gonna lie, I got chills a little bit. And we don't get Fearless after this, which is fine. That song feels less crucial to keep in as opposed to, you know, multiple exposition songs. But okay. Another reprise I'm forgetting was there was a reprise of Stupid with Love, and anyone who really like knows about the Mean Girls musical knows about the Stupid with Love reprise, and it's probably like, bestie, what the hell? You know, especially if you haven't seen Mean Girls 2024. But also if you've seen Mean Girls 2024 and you've also seen the Mean Girls musical, then you'll probably notice that Aaron Samuels doesn't sing in this movie. And honestly, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'm really, hey, I'm sitting, I'm chilling, you know, I'm sitting, but nevertheless, I'm gonna keep it moving. Also, in the musical, there are technically 2 reprises of Someone Gets Hurt. So there's, you know, of course, the first version, and then there's the first reprise, which is like smushed at the end of Fearless, which, you know, of course, we didn't get in this adaptation. And then there's the reprise Later by Janice. At this point, at the end of this cafeteria scene, Regina's reprise would happen, but it doesn't happen in the movie. And honestly, like, it's really not even that crucial either. Like, I just think Janice's reprise holds a bit more weight. But, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, this part with the cafeteria, yeah, that music was, yeah. And also at the end of that confrontation, when Katie turns around and like puts her little leg over the other, yeah, she kind of ate that up. She ate that one thing. Yeah. I love that the entirety of the B tier is just Angourie rice. Like, that's pretty much, yeah. Like, that's, yeah, that sums up this movie pretty well. And then I have another screenshot. I have another screenshot of Jaquel and auli'i, and I said, shut the fuck up. Jaquel and auli'i are so fucking cute. I love seeing 2 pretty best friends. And you know what? I know that's right. Yeah. I had to make things a bit tiny for everything to fit on the screen. I'm sorry. But it's the end of Act 1. Like, this is where the end of Act 1 would be. So here's where we're at so far. So there's no reprise of A Cautionary Tale, which is, you know, of course not as crucial. It's really just there to signify the start of the second act. So there's really no need to memorialize it in any way on this tier list. However, Janice passing notes with her little girlfriend. It goes in the S tier, baby. Okay, so in this scene, Katie is nominated for Spring Fling Queen, and anyone who's seen the Mean Girls musical would know that shortly after this is where the song Stop happens. Now, dear viewer, why don't you check your nearest Mean Girls slime tutorial, and I dare you I dare you to try to come to me and tell me that Jaquel Swivey wouldn't have eaten that up. I'm mad. I'm livid. Seething, even. Incomparably mad. Yeah. Also, the product placement directly after this is crazy. So it's going in the okay dear, because okay. Keeping the Neil deGrasse Tyson bit instead of changing it back to Ladysmith Black Mambazo. Okay. And then there's the part where Regina's mom drunkenly gives her advice and then tells her what the Caltine bars actually do. When they actually looked a bit scary in that part. But yeah. Regina's mom is always a slay. And then this is where whose house is this would be. But honestly, I don't really care that much. Like, I don't really care about that song, but I don't even have enough time to care because, oh, here comes Caddy running her fucking mouth. We don't get the song More is Better in this scene, which I'm still on the fence about, but still leaning one way because while it adds the extra context it provided about where Katie's self-esteem actually lies, wasn't in the original movie, it was still added context nonetheless, so I miss it. More is better. Please come home. The kids miss you. As for Katie running her mouth, okay. Next we have Janice with Someone Gets Hurt reprise. The opt up into the scream. Yeah. Spectacular. Give me 14 more of them right now. I would put this in S tier twice if I could. And then next there's World Burn. Oh my god. This shot, same energy as when she rolled that copy machine on stage. And you know what? This song in this movie, this particular rendition is the only time that I actually was okay with those little social media montages like in this movie. Like that's it. This is the only time I'm okay with it. I think it stops recording after 30 minutes. Set a timer for 25. Because you're not about to catch me slipping anymore. And this song was the only time I was okay this entire movie with those little social media montages. This is the only time. Because at least with this, it like shows the rapid spreading of the word. And like, honestly, thinking back on it with like the whole social media montage after the whole winter talent show debacle, I think, you know what would have been even more iconic? If they had Auli'i and Jaquel do like a internet safety video, like a really quick internet safety video talking about like virality, because then you can still show like, you know, the clips that went viral and like actually show that. But you know, I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? I'm just a guy yapping in front of a sheet of green fabric. What do I know? But as for World Burn, I actually I like the social media montage. I don't have a problem with it. No, but yeah, as for Renee Rapp, yeah, that's not even a question. No, it's not. Listen, every time I watch some kind of iteration of Mean Girls, whether it's the original movie, whether it's the musical, or whether it's this particular adaptation, I'm never not gonna relate to that girl in the junior girls meeting in the gym that they have, you know, after the whole burn book debacle, when she's like, someone wrote in that book that I'm not a virgin because I use Jumbo XL tampons, but I can't help it if I have a heavy flow and a wide set vagina. Literally, quite literally cunt. Quite literally. Like, period. Literally. And then, you know, when they're doing the trust fall stuff and you know, Regina makes a little joke about Janice, they actually don't like make a quip about her being a lesbian. Instead of there being a joke about it being Janice's dream to dive into a big pile of girls, instead Regina says this is either going to be some crappy art or some really cool fire. Gets the point across, right? Without talking about Janice's sexuality. Who'da thunk? Oh my god. Wow. And you know what? I love that. I love that. Love that a lot. Yeah, we know where this is gonna go. Yeah, Jaquel ate that. I love Jaquel Spivvy so much. Next, we have I'd Rather Be Me, sung by Janice, of course. Now, in the lead up to this song, when Janice is talking about the plan she concocted with Katie and Damien to ruin Regina's life, she says, "You know, my friend Katie." It hits differently. It really does. In 2004, social media as we know it today didn't even really exist yet. Like, the first real public social media to truly make waves was like MySpace, and then MySpace was followed very shortly by YouTube in its very early years, if you even count it as a social media. And then, you know, Facebook was picking up steam in the late 2000s. So basically, virality on social media didn't even really exist yet. So it puts this scene into like a whole new context, and it turns it from, in the original movie, Janice being, "You know, my friend Katie?" question mark, to "You know, my friend Katie," period. Anyways, about the song, I love a good downward modulation. Big fan. Big fan. As a budding baritone in some capacities and an alto in most, big fan. Hello, dear viewers. It is me once again, coming at you as I am finishing editing this goddamn video that I have been editing for months, with an update on my current vocal range as it currently stands, as I am almost 4 months on T. So I was just trying to figure out my break, and I was like, why don't I just open my piano app? Yes, I have a piano app on my phone. The joys of weekly testosterone injections, folks. Gender affirming care is life-saving care, bitch. Get with the program. I also love that you get to see Janice's path through the school, and it's literally so fucking cute. And then Regina gets hit by a bus. Yeah, S tier. Yeah, I have no notes. And then the little morning announcement thing that they did. Yeah. The poster on Regina's front door of Regina's mom is crazy. Now in this particular iteration, Katie doesn't get banned from Spring Fling, but gets suspended for 3 weeks and then is still roped into going to the state championships for the mathletes. So okay. Also, I just realized I didn't put the poster on the door one on there. Yeah, because like, why not? Also, Tina Fey, check your fucking doorstep. And then at the Mathlete State Championship, there's Lindsay Lohan as the moderator, and I have some questions. Does she exist in this universe, like in the universe of this movie, as Katie? Like, are we looking at a weird High School Musical, the musical series situation where this is taking place in the real place the original movie was set in, and it's not even confirmed that she's acting as herself or acting as Katie? Like, she's just credited as Mathlete's moderator in the credits. So like, what does it mean? Is she Katie? Because if she's Katie, then that would make sense. That would make her little, you know, this has only happened once before quip make sense. But who is she? Who is she? And like, honestly, in some parts, my High School Musical, the series theory almost seems sound on paper, but If that's true, then why the fuck is Lindsay Lohan the one moderating this event? And if we're going with that theory, what are the odds that not only is there a real Katie Heron with nearly the very same life alongside the very same people in the same town the original movie took place in, but also, pending that being true, say that Katie's birthday was sometime around the time the movie came out. That means that she'd be nearly 4 whole years younger than the first Mean Girls movie. And like, also, could you imagine if this was the same universe where Lindsay Lohan also was a judge at Nationals on season 3 of Glee, like in that universe, and she's just like collecting all of the high school club championships like Infinity Stones. Yeah, the next 4 will be volleyball, swimming, tennis, and badminton. So simply because I don't know why she's here. You know, you did eat that one little thing right there. I just don't understand it, but you did eat. You did eat. The pop rock flip of Stupid with Love. Something shifted. Like, how was that better than the version of Stupid with Love that we got in this movie? Like, how is that better? How is this one better? No, yeah, you did eat that one little thing right there. You did. I also love the visual parallel between the guys on each mathletes team saying we pick the girl as Janice picks up her spring fling date. I love that so much. It's a win for the lesbians. It's a win for the lesbians. It's a win for the lesbians. Yeah, let's go. There's like that weird, like, there's like the reprise of What Ifs, and it's like, why is Angari fighting the beat so much? What is happening? What is going on? Like, okay. Also, again, I am so very obsessed with the character detail of Regina being high on pain meds at the spring fling dance, and honestly, yeah. Oh god, I love Renee Rapp. I love her dearly. And then the very last thing we have yet to go over is the very last song, which is I See Stars. And honestly, not gonna lie, this song makes me cry every single time. It makes me cry a little bit. Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Do you just want me to stop being a Pisces moon? Do you just want me to stop having Pisces placement? Do you want me to stop being a little crybaby? Is that it? Anyway, whatever. And the ending with Janice and Damien. I mean, come on, okay. It can go in a consonant and a vowel short of next year, because it wasn't yeah. So that's it. This is the whole tier list. Feel free to peruse as you wish. And yeah, that's fucking it, I guess.
Wait, come here, I want to tell you something.
So I am, in fact, refilming this outro because the first time I filmed it, I accidentally stopped recording when I was adjusting the camera, and then I didn't notice until I was almost done editing the video. So here's me once again, almost 4 months to the day since I filmed the last part of everything that y'all just saw to redo said conclusion. So for one last time, dear viewer, buckle up.
We do not have a clique problem at this school.
But you do have to watch out for frenemies.
What are frenemies?
Frenemies are enemies who act like friends. We call them frenemies. Or enemens. Or friends who secretly hate you. We call them freighters.
That's so gay.
What if we call them meanimators? No, honey, it has to have the word friend in it.
Oh.
Love ya.
Okay, so we've reached this point. What the fuck was Mean Girls 2024? Well, I can tell you how I feel about it at this point. Going into this last part of the script, tackling this particular remake felt a lot bigger than it actually turned out to be. I know I definitely gave it a bit of flack throughout for being not that great at certain points, but it turns out that there's just a few parts that feel bigger and badder than the other parts that might be smaller and more enjoyable. It's really easy to feel like the entirety of something is bad when most of the people that are doing good are the supporting characters, while the main character isn't bad but has moments that aren't sonically the best. In today's age, it is very easy. It is all too easy to take the Kristen Stewart route and misogynistically assume that someone can't act or sing or take direction just because the direction was shitty, so it made their acting seem shitty. I'm willing to give Angourie Rice the benefit of the doubt that she wasn't allotted a good amount of takes to get things down, especially considering the one song they wrote for her, 2 if you count the tiny reprise of it at the end, didn't actually sound bad. She also didn't sound too bad at the either. It was just like some, some rhythm problems. She was fighting the beat and losing, and that's okay. That happens to maybe not the best of us, but it happens to some of us sometimes. I truly think that the discourse that surrounded this movie when it came out, the virality of it all at times, made the missteps, the cringy parts, what have you, seem like a much bigger problem than they actually were. If you let the movie stand on its own, if you ignore the few bits of sonic dissonance, if you ignore the lack of crucial exposition songs from the original musical, if you ignore that Aaron Samuels doesn't sing in this adaptation, if you accept that this movie will probably be somewhat dated starting sometime in 2026, if you ignore Tina Fey milking this franchise for all it's worth, this movie is actually pretty fun, and y'all are just mean. You see what I did there? You see what I did there? And with that is it. That is all. We finally made it. Thank you for sticking around during this hour and a half. When did that happen? If you liked this video, please let me know by hitting the like button and leaving a comment down below. Comment on your favorite part of the new Mean Girls reboot and tell me why it was one of the women or Jaquel Spivey. And most of all, don't forget to subscribe. I'm still racking up more shit boxes to leave on Tina Fey's doorstep. Love ya. See you next time.